Hey, what's up guys, Rockskull here, and in today's video we're going to be looking into the definitely not unorganized mess that is the Overwatch lore. I thought a fun way for me to show it off in a little more organized manner is by ranking every hero in the lore based on their power. Note that this will not be including how powerful they are in the meta. The only thing I may look at is the hero's abilities specifically if there isn't much lore on them. Also, this will only be up to Maga as he's the most recent hero as of recording. Now we will start from the least powerful and go up from there. At the bottom of the list in the gets rolled by everyone here tier, we have Mei and Lifeweaver. These two, as Mei says herself, are kind of just scientists at the end of the day. They don't have much experience in combat, and I don't think their abilities are too impressive for a real combat scenario against these other heroes. With Mei's ice probably being easily breakable realistically, and Weaver's Biolight just not seeming too effective for offensive usage, from what we know. Moving up into the not that powerful tier, we have Mercy. Not awful with the armor she seems to be wearing and combat experience, but she seems to be trained for helping teammates and running away from threats rather than dealing with them herself. Ashe is a crime boss bandit character in the lore that I honestly don't see having a lot of power. She and her whole gang just get kind of bodied by Cassidy alone, and in general just don't seem like that big of a threat. Break is what I would consider a mini version of Reinhardt in the lore, just following in his footsteps and having weaker versions of his kit, being more of a support for him. Bastion in Overwatch 2 is basically an upgraded form of his fallen brethren thanks to Torb. But honestly, still the improvements he got don't seem that major compared to his old form, which I still didn't think was that strong, so he stays on the lower end. Now finishing off this tier, we have Lucio. The tech that he uses is apparently Sonic tech that he stole from Vishkar, but personally I'm not too certain of all of its capabilities. From what we see in game, it seems to be mainly supportive, granting speed and healing to nearby allies. It's not crazy on offense, but I guess not the worst either. At the bottom of the powerful tier, we have Junkrat. Being able to escape the authorities and get away with so many big heists makes me think Junkrat has decent capabilities in terms of power. He still gets thrown at the bottom of this tier though for, how do I put this nicely, lacking of the smarts.
There's two.
Moira seems to have decent offensive and defensive capabilities with her power, but she doesn't seem to excel in anything specifically, so I put her down here too. Kiriko is what I would consider the weakest of all the wall climbing heroes, with her not having access to the dragons, and in general having a lot less experience in combat. Her Fox Spirit and healing powers are still pretty powerful abilities though, but she still gets outclassed by others I feel. D.Va has a very strong mech, and honestly decent combat experience for her age. Still, the mech gets kind of bodied by these dinky robot squids in the cinematic, so I wouldn't consider her the strongest thing in the world. So she gets put kind of on the lower end of this powerful tier. Tracer is a decently powerful hero, having the ability to rewind time and zip around everywhere. But as Doomfist showed in his origin story video, her chrono accelerator is a big weakness. Any blow to it could mean game over for Tracer, especially if Winton isn't around. Torb and Sim I would put around the same spot, with both of them being engineers. Torb has a lot more experience but uses a little more primitive tech, while Sim has little combat experience with advanced tech. I think I would put Sim above though, because in recent comics and short stories, she has been shown to be gaining combat experience and overall wisdom quickly. Next up, we have a big group of 5 heroes that I consider current or previous advanced soldiers in war that all have their advantages and disadvantages. To me, these 5 are interchangeable, with maybe Pharah at the top due to her having a full set of armor and probable access to more advanced equipment. Next up we have Widowmaker, a hero I honestly considered putting in a lower tier at first until I rewatched the Alive cinematic. Her combat capabilities and of course her aim really stand out here. I mean, her personality was literally built to be good in combat and nothing more, so it makes sense. I think the only thing that keeps Widow low for me is her general lack of defense, so any significant source of damage going her way would most likely mean instant death. Our good old crushing machine friend Reinhardt is a decently powerful character in my opinion. While his overall tech is considered primitive by most, it is no doubt still extremely effective, especially his shield, which has been shown to block massive forms of damage like in the 0 Hour cinematic. Even without his shield, he has a massive suit of armor that just eats bullets. Still not someone I would consider extremely powerful however, as he often gets carried away, almost getting himself killed and more, and anything that can outspeed him also seems to be an issue. Iliari has always been a very interesting hero to me, as we still don't really understand the full extent of her power. From what we see in game, it does seem like it's extremely powerful with both damage and healing capabilities, and whatever she gained was so powerful it wiped out her entire village. If we learn more about her, I may put her in the very powerful tier, but for now, since so much is unknown, I'm just going to put her kind of in the middle of the powerful tier. Wrecking Ball and Junker Queen are both interchangeable to me in power, both seeming super strong in the arena battles the city does. I would put Junker Queen a bit higher however, as Ball is sort of her servant, kind of showing that she is probably more powerful. Also, those magnetic powers she has are kind of dope to me, so yeah, I'm just going to put her over Ball. Maga being such a new hero puts him in a similar case to Iliari, I would say, where we don't know a crazy amount about his power level in the lore. However, for him we do know a little more, especially with that recent animated short they released on him. At first glance, he may just seem like an all brawn, no brains type of character, but at the end of the short, he is seen to actually be surprisingly clever, and technically outsmarts even Sombra, which is a very tough thing to pull off. Cassie is a hero we have a surprising amount of backstory and lore on. He easily bodies Ash's gang in the cinematic, takes over a talent train fairly easily on his own, and is shown to handle himself pretty well in a variety of different scenarios in the comics. To me, this makes him a fairly powerful hero, with his only weakness to me being that he doesn't have a crazy amount of defense. Hanzo to me at this point in the lore is the weaker of the Shimada brothers. This isn't to say he isn't strong at all. He clearly has great precision with his bow and general combat capabilities. The dragons are also clearly a very strong tool at his disposal. The main thing that keeps him from being stronger though is the fact that he pretty much forces himself to use the bow. If he ever picks up the sword again, he may be as strong or even stronger than his brother. But for now, he is down here. Rounding out this tier, we have both Zarya and Sombra. Zarya is seen as a pretty darn strong character with an extremely powerful weapon and the ability to bubble herself for protection. On top of her military experience and strongest woman in the world title, it's no doubt to me she's one of the stronger heroes in the game. And for Sombra, she straight up has the ability to teleport, go invisible, and hack things in the environment to her advantage. But these aren't even what makes her so powerful to me. I think the main reason her power is so high is simply because of the information she has access to. With it, she's able to manipulate even the most powerful individuals to her liking. Now, the reason I put these characters together is because they did have an altercation before in the comics, after the leader of Russia sent Zarya after Sombra. At the end of the comic, Zarya actually almost killed Sombra, but of course her manipulation let her escape death once more, so I think it's only fair that Sombra is just above Zarya here. Starting out on the bottom of the very powerful tier, we have what I consider to be the most powerful junker, Roadhog. In almost every combat scenario, he's seen just bodying everybody, and a lot of people he talks to seem to be very scared of him. He also seems fairly wise in his comic talking about Junkertown, so overall just instant very powerful to me. The only thing that brings him down for me is the weapons that he uses are a bit more primitive compared to other heroes. Next up is Reaper. Now for those who have watched the cinematic shorts and read the comics, you might be questioning why I have them this high, since he is usually seen getting rolled by those in lower tiers. One thing that has always stood out to me though is just his ability to get away. Even when he takes a lot of damage and probably should have died, he manages to escape due to his unique ability to basically deconstruct himself. This ability is just too hard to overlook, and I'm not sure if he can even be fully killed because of it. However, if someone does figure it out by using like a vacuum or something, he's probably screwed since his combat abilities don't seem to be that good. Echo having access to probably the most advanced tech out of any hero makes me think she easily gets put up here. Being able to fly and duplicate who she pleases is a super powerful ability and makes her hard to take down in combat. Still, her duplicated forms seem to be a weaker version of the target, and she doesn't seem to have a crazy amount of defense on her own, so still not the strongest for me. Sigma is a very interesting case of a hero. He seems to have the ability to control gravity itself, and on top of that has super high damage and defense capabilities. All this would probably make him top tier if he wasn't a mentally insane man. He clearly doesn't have full control of himself, which means in actual combat situations, he doesn't have full control of his abilities probably either. Finishing off this tier are 3 heroes I have placed around the power level of Doomfist, with him pretty much defeating Genji in his origin story, and Orisa most likely being able to take him on in her new form. Genji on his own is still no joke to me, being the stronger Shimada bro because of his better controlled mental state and extra training he most likely got from Zen. And Doomfist is no doubt a super strong foe in the world of Overwatch, causing much chaos in places he invades like Numbani, and the heroes of Overwatch in general struggling to take him down. However, I still think this newly built Orisa could take him on pretty easily, being literally built for Doomfist. Her Fortify ability especially I could see being super tough for Doomfist to try to deal with. And being able to take on Doomfist probably means she could take on most of the heroes here, so she easily gets put to the top of this tier for me. Beginning in the They Will Destroy All tier, we have the Shimbali Bros Ramattra and Zen. Ramattra being a Ravager robot makes him instantly pretty strong on its own. But he has the access of getting similar combat training to Zen, and access to super advanced tech with his abilities. Now the other Shimbali bro, Zen, is very mysterious in terms of his power. I still think it's safe to put him all the way up here with some voice lines indicating he often beats heroes like Genji in practice duels. His overall wisdom is great too, of course, most likely helping him outplay many foes in combat. For now, I'm gonna put Zen just above Ramattra as a guess, but if we see the end of that fight cutscene from the story missions, we will probably know his true power. Finally, the most powerful hero in all of Overwatch 2 in my opinion is Winton Overwatch. Before you click off, this is not a joke. He has more evidence of his power than Zen and Ram and is legitimately seen bodying any foe in combat, like Reaper and Doom. The Doom one's standing out to me especially since the Doomfist gauntlet is said to level skyscrapers. Winton just punches it with his bare fist and gets Doomfist put in prison. This is not a monkey.
I'm not a monkey.
Oh, sorry, not a scientist you want to be messing with. And there's my ranking for every Overwatch 2 hero's power up to Maga. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and let me know what you think of this ranking in the comments. Thank you all for the support as always, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.
Rocks go, rocks go. All I want to do is stream all night. Lobby full, rocks go. Never gonna play with me, but it's alright.